Good evening. Welcome to our annual Young Storytellers Award Show. My name is Angie Callahan. I'm Director of Children's Services here at WHRO, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to this wonderful evening. We had hundreds of students enter our contest. And you know what? The very best, the 12 best, are sitting in this row right here. Let's give them a hand. You'll get an opportunity to meet each one of these fine young storytellers in just a moment. First, though, we have some special words from our president and CEO, Bert Smith. Bert?
Kids, I want to thank you very much. I have a really fun job because I get to bring you Sesame Street and Clifford and Word Girl and all these great children's programs. But my favorite thing in the entire year are reading the stories that you kids write and draw for us. It is so fun to hear how happy you are, how optimistic you are. You know, I have some kids of my own, and there's been a tradition in my family of, at the end of the story, always saying, and they lived happily ever after. And so many of you guys did the same thing in your stories. You said, and they lived happily ever after. So thank you for putting a smile on my face, and congratulations to all of you for being such winners. Again, thanks so much.
Thank you, Bert. So are you ready to meet our winners? Okay, let's get started. We're going to start with kindergarten, honorable mention, and Lane Barley. Come on up, Lane. You look so pretty tonight. You look like a princess yourself. And there was a princess in your story, wasn't there? What was that princess's name?
Juliet.
Juliet. And Princess Juliet, she had a pet, didn't she? What was her pet's name?
Marco.
And what kind of pet was he?
A Dalmatian.
So Marco the Dalmatian and Juliet, they like to go out and walk around in the countryside, didn't they? Mm-hmm. And they were walking around, and what happened?
We got lost.
They did, and they went to they saw a road, and then they decided that wasn't such a good idea to be on the road. So what did they do next?
They kept on walking, and then they found grass.
But they were lost, weren't they? Yeah, so, but someone came along. Who came along?
Prince Romeo.
Prince Romeo, and he was on his big brown horse, wasn't he? And what did Prince Romeo say to them? He said he knew where the castle was, wasn't he? So he could take them, right? So they hopped on the horse and they rode to the castle, and when they got to the castle, what did Juliet ask her father?
To marry Prince Romeo.
They got married, what day did they get married?
Friday.
On a Friday, right. So they got married on a Friday. And how did the story end?
They lived happily ever after.
Very good. Thank you. Our kindergarten first place winner is Michaela Burmeister. Her story is The Talking Flower and Alex. I don't think I have ever ran into any talking flowers, but in your story the little girl does, doesn't she? Mm-hmm. So how does she find this talking flower?
She was picking the flowers, and then she saw it, and then she thought it was a regular one. Then she got close, and then the flower said hello. Then she was surprised. I
guess I would be pretty surprised too if a flower talked to me. Mm-hmm. Well, why was it that this flower could talk?
Because it was the first flower in spring.
Okay, so the first flower of spring can talk, and they became friends, didn't they?
Yes.
Right, and so what did the flower like?
Sunshine and water.
Sunshine and water. Most plants do like sunshine and water. So did they play together every day?
No.
When did they not play together?
Rain.
On rainy days, they didn't play together, but all the other days they played together and had fun, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, well, that was a sweet story, and congratulations. Okay, we are up to first grade, and our honorable mention is Devin Smeagol, and her story is Pups in Paris. First, let me ask you this. Why did you decide to have pups in Paris?
Because I would like to go to Paris someday.
I've been there and I want to go back. Maybe you and I can go together. What do you think?
Maybe.
Maybe.
Ask my parents
Ask your
first.
parents, yeah. Okay, well, we'll check with them later, all right? Well, these pups, they got on a plane, right? And they flew to Paris. Why did they go to Paris? What was it they wanted to do in Paris?
They wanted to go to the top of the Eiffel Tower.
Ah, that sounds like fun, doesn't it? But they had some problems trying to get to the top, didn't they? What did they try?
They tried climbing on each other.
Did that work?
No.
And didn't they try something else?
They tried climbing it by themselves. They tried climbing it, but their paws were too furry, so they slipped.
Right, they didn't have any way to grab them, so they just slipped back down, didn't they? And then what happened?
They saw humans, and the humans took them on an elevator.
Good, we like these humans. And so did they they got all the way to the top?
Mm-hmm.
And when they got to the top, what was it they could see?
Norfolk. They could see them.
They could see their family and wave to their family, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so when they came back, did they want to go back again to Paris?
Yes, they did.
Yeah, so they,
soon.
go ahead.
Yeah, they would like to go back soon.
They would like to go back soon. I'd like to go back soon, too. Well, congratulations. We like the pups in Paris. All right, our first grade first place winner is Varun Kudva. And he has a story, The Man and the Island. There was something about the man on the island. What was wrong on the island?
Well, the man felt really lonely.
Yeah, he was lonely because all he had was the palm tree and his little hut, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he got in his canoe and he started away, and then something very interesting happened. What happened?
The island started talking to him.
The island started talking to him, and what did the island say to him?
That he wanted a friend too, and then the man came back to the island.
And so he decided that he could be friends with the island, and didn't he then go on to build some more huts?
Yes.
He built huts, and more people then came and lived in the huts, and they all lived happily ever after?
Mm-hmm.
That's a great story. All right, well, here's your story and your ribbon and your certificate. Thank you for that great story. Okay, our second grade honorable mention is Javon Wilson. And Javon wrote one of our action-adventure stories this year. It's Metal Man versus Megatron. Javon is from Tanners Creek Elementary in Norfolk, and you had a good story too. And you know, sometimes action-adventure stories don't really have a moral, but to me there seemed to be a moral to your story. This Megatron guy, he was bad news, wasn't he?
Yes.
Yes. What did he do to the village?
He tried to steal the village people's food.
And the question is, will Metal Man save the day, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, Metal Man has some friends. Who are Metal Man's friends?
Fireman, Electric Man, and Laser Boy.
And Laser Boy. So he has a little group working with him, right?
Mm-hmm.
But guess what? Megatron, he's got some people too, doesn't he? What's his group called?
The Poisonous Mushroom Men.
The Poisonous Mushroom Men. Ooh. So Megatron was going to go steal the food. He was on his way to steal the food. And what did Metal Man know he had to do?
He had to save the food.
Then what happened?
Megatron went to the village, and then he took the people's food, but Metal Man went to the village.
And he got Megatron and got him into a cage, right?
Mm-hmm. He put Metal Man and his friends put the Mushroom Man in the cage with Megatron.
Great. Well, thanks for that fun action-adventure story, Javon. Our first place in second grade is Nolawit Abibi. Her story is A Different Life. You have a very interesting story that probably no one in this room knows about. You actually came to the United States from somewhere else, right?
Yes.
Where did you live before you came here?
In Ethiopia.
So You lived in Ethiopia. You went to school there, right?
Yes.
So while you were there, your dad had you working on something. What did your dad have you working on when you were in Ethiopia?
In English?
In English. He had you on the computer learning English, right?
Yes.
And then he decided to bring you here. And at first you were sad to leave your friends and family, but when you got here, you liked the plane ride, and when you got here, what was going on?
It was snowing?
It was snowing. Had you ever seen snow before?
No.
What did you think?
I think like it was fun.
It was fun. Was it cold?
Yes.
It was cold. Yeah. So you're in your story, the little girl is going to school here now, and does she like the school?
Yes.
Yes. And what does she like best?
Her friends.
Her friends and playing with her friends at recess? Does she like to swing?
Yes.
And does she like to swing really high?
Yes.
And why does she like to swing really high?
Because she was very happy.
Yeah, and she can look up at the sky?
Mhm.
Yeah, the same sky that her friends in Ethiopia look up at, right?
Yes.
Well, we are very happy you are here with us, and that was a wonderful story. We're up to 3rd grade, and our honorable mention is Ethan Prince. It's okay to be second. The story features 3 people, right? There's a peasant, and a princess, and a prince. So tell us a little bit about the peasant.
Well, he doesn't eat a good meal every
Right.
single night. I mean, he's not that wealthy.
Yeah. But he really does like the princess, doesn't he? He really likes the beautiful Annie. So what about the peasant? What was he thinking at this point?
He wasn't fit for her.
Yeah. So he needed to do something about this, right?
Yep.
He might need a little magic, right?
Yep.
So tell me about what he did.
He went to a magic sorcerer and asked to be made irresistible.
I like that, to become irresistible. So there was a magic potion involved, right?
Yeah.
But with this magic potion that would make him irresistible, there were some side effects, right?
Yeah.
And what were those side effects?
One was you would become a potato chip bag if you did not eat a healthy meal.
So if you didn't eat a healthy meal, you turn into a potato chip bag if you drink this potion. But if you eat a healthy meal, then it will work, right? And you'll become irresistible.
No.
Oh. So what
He
happened?
was hoping for it, but the potion would just be, you would be spared.
So was he spared?
Nope.
No. But he did get to go to the ball.
Yes, he found a healthy meal, then ate it, then got ready.
Yeah, so he had a healthy meal, and so then he got ready, and he went to the ball. And when he got to the ball, old Prince Griswold wasn't there yet, right?
Yep.
So what did he do?
He got to dance with her.
And then there was this very unusual being that showed up in your story that the prince had to fight. And this was a giant, scary, ferocious matzo ball, right?
Yep.
And the prince was doing pretty good fighting him, right?
Yeah.
Until the matzo ball let loose his secret weapon. And what was that?
His extra fat he's been storing for winter.
And when Prince Griswold saw this, what did he do?
Jumped on his horse and no one ever saw him again.
So he rode off into the sunset. Was the princess happy?
Yeah. She asked if, since Griswold was not there, she asked, will you marry me? And he said yes, and everyone lived happily ever after.
Congratulations on a great story. We have our first place winner in 3rd grade is Stephanie Chambers. Stephanie's story is A Filly's Tale. There are 2 fillies. There's 2 horses in your story. Can you tell us the names of the 2 horses?
One is Elise and one is Hannah.
And Hannah, she is the mother, right?
Yes.
And they love doing something. What did they love to do?
They love to play in the mud pools.
Then something happened. What happened?
The herd started running, and Elise found out that Hannah was taken away by Sioux Indian.
So her mother is gone, right?
Yes.
What's she going to do? So she keeps going back to the mud field, and she keeps hoping that her mother will show back up, right?
Yes.
But she doesn't, does she? In the meantime, the mother, Henna, the Sioux brave that Eagle Eye, right?
Yes.
That had her. He was worried about her because she was very sad, and he didn't know why she was sad, did he?
No.
No. So he would take her out and do jumps with her and to ride with her and train, trying to make her happy. And one day when they were doing that, she threw him off because she heard a sound. And what was the sound she heard?
She heard, oh, I can't remember. I haven't read it in a while.
She heard a young horse trying to get away from an animal, a wild animal, didn't she?
Yes.
And that young horse, guess who that young horse was?
Elise.
It was her daughter. So the mother filly, she ran over to try to help and get this cougar off, but she was having trouble. She couldn't do it by herself. And what did Eagle Eye do?
Eagle Eyes came over and shoot arrows at the cougar's feet to scare him away.
So he didn't shoot him. He just shot him at his feet so he would leave. And then the mother and daughter fillies, they were reunited, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so what was the only thing left to do?
Play in a mud pool.
Exactly. And you had a moral to your story. Do you remember what your moral was?
The love between a mother and daughter is always together.
That's right. That's such a beautiful story. And I know your mother is very proud of you. Congratulations. Okay, we're back to action adventure with our 4th grade honorable mention, Nick Cunningham. His story is R.P. Pickle and the Lost Pickles. So these pickles, do you like pickles?
I don't like to eat them, but I just like them.
Well, I have to admit, in all the years of this contest, I don't think we've ever had a story about pickles. But yours was a really cute little action-adventure story. These 2 pickles, they were in a library, right? And what happened in the library?
A book fell off the shelf, and RP found a map came out of the book.
Yeah, and this map was something they might have been looking for, because they were looking for something. What were they looking for?
The Lost Pickles.
The Lost Pickles. So they've got this map, and they hop into their helicopter, and they go to an ancient temple, right?
Yeah.
And they finally get into the ancient temple. They have a little trouble getting in, don't they?
Yeah.
And then they run into all kinds of problems in the ancient temple. There were spikes that they had to get across, and there were snakes that they had to get through. And but finally they found what they were looking for. And how did they know that what they were looking for might be nearby?
Because they saw a shiny treasure room.
They saw the shiny treasure room, and then one of them stepped in something. What did he step in?
Pickle juice.
Pickle juice. Oh, all right. We are onto something. The shiny treasure room and pickle juice. Okay. So they see the pickles. They see the jar of lost pickles, don't they?
Yep.
But they think it might be a trap, right? So what do?
So they put some sand in a bag and swap it out.
So very smart. These are smart pickles. So they got the pickle jar, they ran and got back in their helicopter, and they got back to their lab, didn't they?
Yeah.
And then they started investigating. And what did they see in this, what was this jar like?
This jar was golden with a diamond lid and red rubies encrusted around it.
Pretty nice pickle jar, wouldn't you say? Yeah. So did they eat the pickles? What did they decide to do with this jar?
They decided to take it to the Ancient Artifact Museum, and they got famous, but RP got a little bit more.
And why did he get a little bit more famous?
Because he was the person that mostly did all the work, while LP just sat there.
So we are happy that he got to be more famous, right?
Yeah.
And now their artifact is in the Pickletown Museum, right?
Yep.
Okay, well, thank you for the great story about the pickles. Our 4th grade first place winner is Philip Pond. He wrote a story called Bubba the Hero. Bubba the Hero. Tell him who Bubba is.
Here's a buzzard.
He's a buzzard, and he's lonely, and he's having a bad life, too. Why is he lonely?
Because no one will play with them, and they call them names and stuff.
What kind of names do they call him?
Buzzard breath.
Buzzard breath and other bad names. And they're afraid of him, really. That's what it is, isn't it? Part of it is they're afraid of him?
Yes.
And why are they afraid of him?
Because he eats dead animals, and they think he'll eat other animals too, live animals.
So at nighttime, what does he do?
He cries himself to sleep some nights.
Yeah. 'Cause he has no friends, nobody will be nice to him, and he's really a nice guy, but nobody knows it, right?
Right.
But something does happen. He gets a chance to shine. And can you tell him about what happened with the little bunny rabbit?
A rabbit almost got hit in the road, and he swooped down and picked up the rabbit and took him back to his mother.
So this little baby bunny, he saw a carrot, couldn't resist it, ran on the road, and a car almost hit him, but Bubba came to the rescue, right?
Yes.
And so then, how did everybody feel about Bubba?
They wanted to be his friend.
They wanted to be his friend. They let him play games with him.
Yes.
Yeah, and the other thing they found out was he really didn't like being called a buzzard, right?
Right.
Why is that?
Because he's not really a buzzard. He's a North American turkey vulture.
Right, and he's like, I'm enough of this calling me a buzzard. And he got them to understand that he actually was doing a good job for the earth, right?
Yes.
Because he was eating food, the animals that had already died that no one else wanted, right?
Right.
So Bubba and his friends all had fun after that, and they lived happily ever after, right?
Right.
Okay, Philip, it's a great story, and his artwork is fantastic as well. Congratulations, Philip. Our 5th grade honorable mention is Reagan Balance. Reagan wrote the story, Hooch, the Very Special Dog. The story starts, where is he?
Well, he's at a rescue in Richmond, Virginia.
Right, and he's pretty lonely and sad, and he wants somebody to rescue him, doesn't he?
Yes.
And did somebody come along and do that?
Yes.
And what was her name?
Allison.
So Allison brought him home with her, and Allison noticed something special about Hooch. Like when she was sad or lonely, what would he do?
He would cheer her up.
Yeah, and so that gave her an idea. What was that idea?
To make him a therapy dog.
Yeah, so how did Hooch take to being a therapy dog?
He liked the training and
He liked helping the kids?
Yeah, he liked the kids because the kids brought him treats.
Ah, we all like treats, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Hooch was a very good therapy dog. In fact, he was such a good therapy dog that he won something, right?
Yes, he won a prize for his work with the kids.
Oh, that's nice. And so after he retired from being a therapy dog, what did he do?
He went back to the farm with Allison, and where he liked to play with his sister Casey.
Aw, what a sweet story. Thank you for that wonderful story. Our 5th grade first place winner is Emma Bustetter. Come on up, Emma. Emma wrote a story called My Special Brother. You have a little brother, and he had some problems. He was premature, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so he had to be in the hospital for a long time, right?
Yeah, I think it's 3 months, yeah.
So he was in the hospital for several months, and he had some difficulties. But one of the difficulties was he couldn't hear, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right, and that's hard, I know. My grandmother was deaf, so I have had a family member that has that condition. But there are wonderful ways science has come up with to help people. And your little brother actually got some help. What was it that you all had done for him?
Well, he got a cochlear implant to help him hear, so, because his hearing aids wouldn't work for him because he was completely deaf.
Yeah, so but the cochlear implants would allow him to hear. So how old was he when he got the implants?
1 year old.
That's very young, I would think, yeah, to have that sort of thing. But so he got the implants, and the doctor turned on, what was it called? The
The processor.
The processor, turned on the processor. And what did your little brother do?
He cried because it was the first time he had heard anything.
Yeah, it was the very first thing he had ever heard. And now, though, he has no problems, and he's able to hear many good things. Like what sort of things?
Like cars, people talking, and then also my family.
And your family. So the sweetest thing of all is being able to hear the family voices, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, great. Well, it was a beautiful story. I know it's written from your heart. Thank you, Emma. Thank you for another great story. Well, we thank everybody for joining us and for being with us to meet these fine young storytellers. We hope we'll see you back again next year for the WHRO Young Storytellers.